You may have heard that the San Diego Comic-Con happened over the weekend, and some massive new movies were unveiled, and some of them were even based on comic books. Because Marvel Studios didn't really have a presence at the event this year, the two biggest superhero movies shown off are easily DC's Aquaman and Shazam. Both films appear to be going for a brighter look and more uplifting tone than most of the previous DC movies. Aquaman will see the watery hero fight his arch-nemesis Black Manta for control of the underwater kingdom of Atlantis, with the underwater setting creating a unique and aquatic aesthetic. This will splash into theaters this December. Shazam looks even less dark. It focuses on a young boy, Billy Batson, who becomes a superhero when he says the magic word Shazam. And the film looks like a combination of Richard Donner's Superman with the Tom Hanks movie Big. That one lands in April. If you want a darker superhero movie, the first full trailer for M. Night Shyamalan's Unbreakable sequel, Glass, debuted at Comic-Con. It sees Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson reprise their roles from the 2000 film, alongside James McAvoy as split villain Kevin, with the film once again imagining what superheroes and villains would look like in the real world. Unbreakable fans have been waiting almost 20 years for a sequel, so hopefully Glass delivers when it hits theaters in January. The last big movie unveiled at Comic-Con has even bigger monsters and is turning things up to 11. Godzilla King of the Monsters is a sequel to the 2014 Godzilla reboot and stars Stranger Things hero Millie Bobby Brown alongside Kyle Chandler and Vera Farmiga. But the most important characters are the giant kaiju monsters. Godzilla will go up against old foes like Mothra, Rodan, and the three-headed King Ghidorah. The visual style looks pretty cool. That smashes into theaters in May. There's some pretty good stuff coming up our way. I think that the Shazam movie actually looks a little cheeseball, a little sort of, you know, like The Greatest American Hero is what it reminds me of. And I'm actually looking forward to that movie. I know that the effects and the sort of, you know, pop out of the screen colors of the costume look a little off-putting, but I think it's going to be fun. And I actually like Zach Levi. I think he's a really good comedic actor. He's got great chops. And I don't know if it's just because he was awesome in Tangled or what, but I think he's going to be great. And I'm also looking forward to seeing the craziness of the Aquaman movie. I think Jason Momoa is such a charming actor, and there's some good cast members in there. Nicole Kidman. You know, I think this is going to be a lot of fun as well. You know, I'm extending hope. I'm extending faith out there. And you know what? I wasn't a big fan of that recent Godzilla movie starring Bryan Cranston, but this one looks like it is going to be a lot of fun as well. It's like they haven't forgotten to have fun with this one. And it wasn't just big movies shown off at Comic-Con. Loads of big TV shows were also unveiled at the event. First up, fans got their first look at the next season of Star Trek Discovery. As expected, it will see the USS Discovery team up with Trek's most famous ship, the USS Enterprise, commanded by Captain Christopher Pike. His first officer, Commander Spock, will also appear, but we're still waiting for a look at him. Discovery has seen a major reshuffling of its behind-the-scenes team, and it looks like the new season won't be quite as dark or militaristic as the first one, but we'll have to wait and see. It premieres in January. Netflix debuted the first full trailer for Disenchantment, a new fantasy series from The Simpsons creator Matt Groening. It lampoons the tropes of the fantasy genre, and because it's on a streaming network, it appears to be a little more crass and violent than a network show like The Simpsons. Comic-Con had a doctor in the house because the BBC unveiled the first full trailer for the new season of Doctor Who, giving fans their first good look at the new Doctor played by Jodie Whittaker. She'll once again join forces with human companions to save the universe, and judging by the trailer, Whittaker seems to capture the heroic yet absent-minded and silly personality of the previous Doctors. The new season arrives this fall. Over in the DC universe, Warner Brothers unveiled Young Justice Outsiders, the third season of the cult animated series. The show was canceled back in 2013, but the studio is reviving it for the new subscription streaming service DC Universe, making it one of several exclusive shows coming to the platform. That launches this fall. Another DC Universe exclusive, Titans, was shown up at Comic-Con earlier in the week. Yes, we're going to have a lot of subscriptions to streaming platforms, which is not a very easy sentence to say. It's very easy to stumble and bumble in there. Yeah, we're going to have Disney, we're going to have CBS, we're going to have DC Universe, Netflix, Amazon. It's going to get nuts, but I think this is the way that cable is moving. I think people are just going to naturally gravitate away from paying a cable service provider and sort of doing their a la carte with their specific vendors that are making shows that are in their wheelhouse. And I think us fans of fantasy and sci-fi and superheroes and stuff like that, we're going to be well serviced by all of these streaming services. And I think television is probably going to evolve into more of a reality TV platform and a place to run syndicated shows and repeats and old movies and things like that. it's going to be very interesting over the next 10, 20 years, especially if these things are hit and are, big hits. And I believe that the DC Universe one will succeed. I believe that the Disney one will succeed. I think that they're going to bring a tremendous challenge to Netflix. But it's going to be fascinating to watch all of this stuff. But, thumbs up to Greg Berlanti, who has not squandered the opportunity to be the most productive producer in the history of Hollywood, I think. I don't know how many shows that guy's got his name on, but it's incredible. I mean, he's literally going to the comic store and saying, yeah, I'll take that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. He's just making shows out of every issue on the racks, which is just crazy. Looking forward to all the new stuff that's coming up from him. Looking forward to the to Jodie Whittaker and the Doctor Who shoes. I think that's going to be fun. I want to see who this new Spock is. I actually enjoyed the first season of Discovery. Blake is shaking his head at me right now, but I thought it was pretty fun. We've got good entertainment headed our way, people. And one big piece of news that broke over the weekend is slaying everything else. A reboot of Buffy the Vampire Slayer is in the works. Fox has begun developing a new take on the classic series with creator Joss Whedon and writer Monica Owusu-Breen overseeing the project, which will focus on a new version of Buffy as she does, what else, slay vampires. No casting details have been announced, and it's unclear how long the new Buffy series will take before it hits the airwaves. This is cool news as well. I think a reimagining of Buffy, it's about time. I think it's the series that really put Joss Whedon on the map, and I think he's probably been doing a lot of reflecting since a lot of his life has been an upheaval, and I think he's probably trying to reboot a little bit here, and if they do something successful with Buffy, which is proven to be a franchise that can exist outside of the movies and outside of television. It's been in comic books, and people still clamor for new content in this universe. I think this is going to be really cool. Joss is incredibly talented as a creator. And, I think he's also done a pretty good job at bringing us lots of strong female leads over the years, and I expect nothing less of this new Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Now, a lot of people aren't happy with Disney and Marvel's decision to fire Guardians of the Galaxy director James Gunn. A Change.org petition calling for Gunn to be rehired to write and direct Guardians of the Galaxy 3 has been launched and currently has more than 180,000 signatures. Gunn has also been defended by several prominent names, including director Joe Carnahan and Guardian star Dave Bautista, who have publicly disagreed with Disney's decision. Other Guardian stars have responded in different ways. Chris Pratt and Zoe Saldana have both issued non-committal statements hinting at their support for Gunn, but at the same time not criticizing Disney's decision, while Yondu actor Michael Rooker has left Twitter altogether. The controversy all started last week when crass jokes made by Gunn more than a decade ago were dug up by far-right conspiracy theorist and white supremacist Mike Cernovich. Cernovich has been feuding with Gunn over his criticism of U.S. President Donald Trump, and he brought up the old tweets as a way to discredit Gunn and get him fired. It worked. Disney and Marvel severed ties with him on Friday afternoon, saying that the old tweets do not represent their values. Gunn himself hasn't publicly disagreed with Disney's decision to fire him. In a statement, he's apologized for the jokes, pointing out that they were made back when he was a totally different kind of filmmaker and well before Disney and Marvel hired him to direct the first Guardians movie. Disney has yet to respond to the petition. I've been doing a lot of thinking about this, and it's true that James Gunn apologized for these things in 2012, but it's also true, and so I think it's wrong to sort of fire a person and to punish a person if they have made concerted efforts to change. And I think that's a terrible statement to send out to the world, is that you can't change and people can't change. But Disney isn't a court of law. Disney is a public company, and Disney is a business that needs to make a lot of money to make a lot of people happy. And if there are going to be things that will, poke holes in that balloon and piss off shareholders and piss off audience members, it's kind of a fiduciary responsibility on Disney's part to manage that. And I think that they kind of had to weigh everything out and look at, James Gunn's considerable contributions and weigh that against the controversy that will continue to follow him, fair or not. And they had to make a very tough decision. And I think that the repercussions are going to be felt for many years. And I think that's going to be really scary for a lot of creators out there that have things that they're not proud of in their histories or their Twitter streams or their Facebook feeds or their relationships with people. This is a very messy time, and it's a very fractious time where we've got opposing parties and opposing sensibilities constantly at odds with each other, and there's going to be some ugly fallout through this. And James Gunn, unfortunately, is one of the people that is going to be suffering through this, and also all of his fans and everybody that wants him to make more of this content. I think he's going to be fine, and I think, you know, another studio is going to weather the storm of hiring him, and he's going to build something really cool. It might even be Warner Brothers saying, look, we'll take a chance with you, or whatever. I mean, there's a way to spin this in the, you know, the PR world. But I don't think a petition is going to change Disney's mind about this. I think that they have a lot of shareholders that represent all kinds of values across the United States. They're one of the biggest companies in the world, and they just have got to kind of distance themselves from stuff, especially when you look at the context of some of James Gunn's tweets. They're really at the heart of things that stand directly oppositional to the message of what Disney's trying to, you know, purvey out there, the family friendliness. And I know that Gunn made those at a time when he was a shocking filmmaker, and he was an edgy guy, and he was trying to be funny. I didn't find the tweets very funny, but I could see that you know, he was just being an ass on Twitter, and there was consequences. It sucks. I mean, it's bad all around, but it's you know, it's kind of the state of the world right now. It's not going to stop until we kind of, you know, figure some of this stuff out. I think that this war of words is, it can be brutal, but it's like the first stage of some of the pain that we're going to go through until we've got a lot more sort of peace in the world right now. It's a crazy time. It looks like another American box office disaster has been saved by China. The Rock's new movie Skyscraper, which failed at the box office in North America, debuted in China over the weekend and earned more than $47 million in the country. That's almost double the $24 million that it made in its opening weekend in North America, and brings its total worldwide haul to more than $130 million. If the film manages to maintain its numbers in China, it will be the latest in a long line of American movies that have failed financially in their home country, only to be saved by the emerging Chinese market. Other films like Pacific Rim, The New Tomb Raider, and The Rock's previous film, Rampage, have seen similar turnarounds. Yes, China is going to become unbelievably important. It already is unbelievably important to the you know, the state of Hollywood's finances. I think there was a reason why they set Skyscraper in Hong Kong. And it wasn't a terrible movie. It was just a mediocre movie. It was one that you could kind of call. But The Rock is fun, and some of the stunts are fun, and some of the visual effects are fun. And, you know, I saw The Rock tweeting about this and celebrating it. I would like to see The Rock celebrate his work in a movie that, you know, doesn't have any doubters, that doesn't have, like, is undeniably fantastic. The Rock deserves that, and hopefully that movie is coming soon. But that's going to wrap us up for the rundown. Right now it's time for This Day in Everything Cool.